On July 20th, 1969, humanity achieved one of its greatest feats ever, of sending a man on Moon and returning him back safely. It all started with John F. Kennedy's famous speech.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
After that, NASA spent over 8 years in preparing for the Apollo mission, which required them a budget of $67 billion, which adjusted to inflation today is over $263.8 billion. This funding helped NASA to conduct 6 lunar landings, which were Apollo 11, Apollo 12, Apollo 14, Apollo 15, Apollo 16, Apollo 17. Apollo 13 unfortunately did not land due to an explosion in oxygen tank, which forced mission to abort lunar landing. For Apollo 11, the astronauts chosen went to extreme training and exercise. The final astronauts chosen were Mission Commander Neil Armstrong, Lunar Module Pilot Buzz Aldrin, Command Module Pilot Michael Collins. The mission started on the 16th of July, 1969, which set the astronauts on an 8-day journey to the Moon and back to Earth on the 24th of July, 1969. Humanity's first step on Moon was watched and heard on all over Earth by estimated 650 million people, which was the most watched television event in history at that time. If you're wondering what was the point of sending human to the moon, and what did we achieve in doing so, the moon landing triggered a technological boom worldwide, which had wide-ranging effects on science, engineering, and everyday life. For example, miniaturization of electronics, advancement in material science, computing and software engineering, telecommunications and satellites, wireless technologies. Even after unlocking all these capabilities, why haven't we gone back to the moon? Well, worry not, because NASA is planning to send astronauts back to the moon, now with an even greater purpose. The Artemis program is a series of missions which is aimed at returning humans to the moon for the first time since Apollo 17, 1972. The Artemis 1 mission on November 16, 2022, completed its uncrewed test flight, which used the new Space Launch System, SLS, rocket and the Orion spacecraft. The unmanned rocket orbited the moon and returned to the Earth, proving the systems are safe for humans. The Artemis 2 mission is a planned mission for April 2026, which will carry 4 astronauts around the moon without landing on it. The main purpose of this mission is to check the life support system of the spacecraft and the communications aboard. The Artemis 3 mission is planned for 2027, is the mission that will actually take mankind back on the moon after almost more than 50 years. This mission will use the SpaceX Starship Human Landing System, HLS, to take astronauts from lunar orbit to the lunar surface. This time, not just NASA, but agencies from worldwide such as European Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and others are cooperating for these missions. The race to the moon has always been about countries challenging each other's space programs' capabilities. The main reason why America decided to fund NASA for the Apollo missions because they were losing the space race. The space race started in 1957 when the USSR launched the Sputnik satellite, which was the first man-made satellite to orbit around the Earth. Few years later, on April 12, 1961, the USSR launched the Vostok 1 rocket, In space carrying the astronaut Yuri Gagarin. This gave USSR major lead in the space achievements. America gave a greater response to it by sending a man to the moon 8 years later. And yes, America self-claimed its victory against USSR in the space race. After the success of moon landing, the Soviet scientists and engineers privately and publicly congratulated the American team for the achievement. The USSR never questioned the moon landing. Yet, till date, there exists a large number of self-claimed conspiracy theorists who say that the moon landing in 1969 was a hoax. They have several claims without any concrete proof to support it. But all of these claims have been successfully debunked by NASA, officials and someone who has common sense. With our greater ambitions towards space research and exploration, the day might not be far where we explore the outer space beyond imagination.